excellent.
What is up, party people? Good evening, good morning, wherever you may be, and welcome to episode 55 of Perfectly Excellent, the show that is not always perfect, not always excellent, but perfectly excellent. How's it going, Tim?
Oh, I have had a stupendously terrible day today. Like a real, rolling cavalcade of nonsense from the moment I woke up until we started. So I have had a tremendously bad day.
No, maybe we should scrap everything and just talk about how awful our days are these days.
I don't think that's going to be we're trying not to be a negative podcast. Remember?
You're right. There's a lot of negativity in the world, hence why our days are so bad. So
yes.
You're right. So let's talk about good stuff then. Good point. I see. What's up, Manny? Thanks for stopping by, jumping in. Yeah, let's talk about good stuff there. I'm sorry you had a rotten day, but hopefully it gets better from here on out.
I hope so. If nothing else, it's almost over. So it's got that going for it.
It's difficult for it to get worse. It's got.
Don't ever say that. Don't ever say that. Alan said that, not me. I said nothing. I did not say anything. It can always get significantly worse. I'm just glad the day's almost over.
All right, good. Well, let's talk about some fun stuff then. Forget about the put your what ails you behind you, and let's talk about some cool stuff.
We can try that. We can try that for sure. Do you want to start off? You want to start off doing the things and telling about some invention exchanging things?
Let's exchange our inventions.
All right, here we go.
Perfectly excellent.
It's time to reveal this week's invention exchange.
Here I am in the hot seat. So you remember a couple, I don't know, it feels like years ago when we talked about San Diego Comic-Con. What was that, like 2 weeks, 4 months? I've lost all concept of time.
Sometime in the 2010s.
Yeah, sometime when we talked about San Diego Comic-Con. And I was talking about Jada Toys and their Invincible line. And I'd been sitting on the fence for those figures because I wanted to see if they were going to make an Alan the Alien figure. Like I needed Alan the Alien to be there, and then I was all in. And sure enough, they showed him. I think he's going to be in Wave 3. And I'm like, okay, I'm on board. That created a problem for me, however, because at San Diego Comic-Con, Jada Toys, as companies do, they had an exclusive figure.
Oh, did they?
Oh, and they did. And I think last year you were on deck to help me out get their exclusive. It didn't sell out. It was no problem. And we got that. It was a Mega Man thing.
The little Mega Man rock guys.
Yep. You got it. This year, I didn't think it'd be a big deal, but for some reason, I think they vastly underestimated the demand for this figure. So I asked friends at San Diego Comic-Con if they could score one. They said, no way. That line was crazy. And they were sold out like every day.
They said, who are you? I'm not your friend. You do not have friends in San Diego.
Stop messaging me.
Where did you get this number?
Yes. So I had to turn to my non-friends on eBay.
Oh, they are not your friends.
They are definitely not my friends, especially when it comes to San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. So, but I watched some listings. I went back and forth, and then I finally found one for a good price and pulled the trigger on San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Invincible beat up figure. I haven't even opened it yet. It's been sitting here for quite a bit, but yay.
So what's the deal with this figure versus what I would imagine there's a normal version of this figure?
There is a normal version, and this is where he's not so normal. He tends to get beaten up a lot.
Okay.
Beaten up and broken. And this is the beaten up and broken version with lots of bloody accessories and whatnot.
Yeah. For anyone who's listening to the audio and not seeing the video, Alan is not actually showing anything to demonstrate what he's talking about as far as it being so it's like
look on the back. He's bloody. You just can't see it.
So basically what he's got like bruised, you don't have to open it, but like his like face is beat up.
his face is beat up, his mask is damaged, his clothes are torn,
Gotcha.
and he's covered in blood in most of it. And there's
Gotcha.
to
All right.
varying degrees. Depends
All
on
right.
which. I think there's multiple swappable heads in here. Let's see. How does this open? There we go. Again, a better visual for those listening and not watching. You can see the figure there with all of his various heads and his hands, and he's beat up, and he took a beating in this one.
All right.
He's pretty worn out, bleeding from the nose, and pretty much everywhere, every other orifice. So. But yeah, I'm psyched to have that, and yeah, I don't want to do that again with San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. No mas.
They should just stop having that.
They should. And Jada, again, they sold their exclusives, but then they put them up online. I don't know. I think they might have had this one up online, but again, I was waiting to see. I was testing the waters, and I didn't think it would be a big deal. Well, I was wrong. It was a big deal. So,
well, I'm glad you got it. Hopefully you didn't pay too far out the nose for it.
Nope, not too bad at all. They definitely, the deal. You got to kind of watch the listings, and then immediately they spike, and then they drop when all those people get nervous, thinking, "Oh no, I'm never going to be able to sell this." So I snatched one of those up.
Yeah, they start doing the math between the fees, the cost of shipping it, the packing supplies, and then at some point you're losing money on it.
Yeah, and they're like, I just want to get rid of it. And sure enough, there was a lot of people looking for it, and we were all sent on crazy goose chases. Like, oh, this one site in Australia has them for whatever reason, so everybody flooded that site and ordered them from there. But yeah, I will not snooze and lose again. I'll make better choices going forward. That is what I've learned from this episode. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Appreciate it.
Very nice. All right. Well, for me, I have another vintage item that I picked up recently. And this is one of those items that's another one I had when I was a kid. Although calling me a kid at that point was starting to stretch it a little bit.
Okay.
These came out in 1989. And it's really one of the last toy lines that I remember getting as toys to play with. Like I continued to get toys going forward, but I wasn't really playing with them so much as a kid. But in 1989, I was like 13 years old, probably a little too old to be playing with toys still, but I absolutely was. So this was one of the last ones I remember getting. And it was from the 1989 Batman movie, which I enjoyed immensely. So I have recently picked up the Toy Biz Batmobile.
Look at that, new in box. It appears, or in box at least.
It's in the box. It has been opened, and I plan on displaying it open.
Okay.
The box will probably end up in the attic, and you can't have a Batmobile without a Batman. So I also have the corresponding Toy Biz Batman, which is on card, but it's really no more. It's not expensive at all. It's really no more on card than it is loose with all of the accessories. So I just got one that has kind of a beat up card, so I could pop it open. Nice. But yeah, this is like kind of one of like the last toy lines that I got, like that I like played with my brother with.
Mm-hmm.
So
before going your separate ways,
before I stopped speaking to him forever. And no,
I get it. That was the age where interests start to change, right?
Well, my interest didn't change so much because again, I did keep buying toys pretty regularly at that point, but they turned more into shelf displays than things that you got out and played with. And I'm not a Batman guy. I'm not a comic book guy. I'm not really a superhero guy. But, for those of us that were around in 1989, that Batman movie was a big, big deal.
It was.
One of my best friends, his cousin had the Bat logo shaved into the back of his head.
Oh, I vaguely recall seeing that quite often. That was like a thing. Yeah.
It was a big deal. And I definitely got caught up in the hype. And I really like that movie. Like and I watched it not that long ago, and it holds up really well, but in a very different way than I remember it. I remember it feeling very big and epic. And when I watched it, I would say within the last 2 or 3 years, I was like, this is not as big and epic as I remember, because it's like done a lot on sets a lot. There's a lot of like interesting set work, but
before green screens.
Yeah. No, it's still a good movie, and I liked it a lot back then. So I wanted the toys. I got the toys. I had a poster of the Batmobile up in my bedroom, like that Batmobile from there. So big fan of that.
Very nice. Well, are you gonna anything else from that line you're chasing down?
Well, the line was really small. The only other stuff
It was Batman.
Well, there was the Joker, there was Bob the Goon, and then I think there's like a Joker van or something like that. And I didn't have the van, but I had the other two figures. But I'm not in the market of just completing lines for the sake of it. Like, I wanted Batman and the Batmobile, and that's it. I'm good.
Okay.
So not the most. I feel like a lot of my invention exchanges lately have been a lot more dramatic and have been a lot more like, oh, this is really important. This is like a borderline grail. But I'm kind of at the, I've gone through a lot of those. So these are sort of like just the cool accessory pieces that I've been picking.
Hey, the world needs ditch diggers too. What can I say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, but that's cool though.
I'm going to tell Michael Keaton you said that.
No. He's Beetlejuice. Don't tell him that. He's done a lot of things. So cool. Well, good pickups. Very nice.
Yeah. All right. So should we get on to the main event? Because this is a Rewind Club episode of Perfectly Excellent. And for those who may not know, what the Rewind Club is that one of us picks a movie that we have known and loved since childhood, or a long time anyway. Mm-hmm. And the other either hasn't seen it before, or at least doesn't remember seeing it before. So someone will be kind of coming into it for the first time, and the other person will be coming into it with a lot of baggage, a lot of affection, memories.
There you go. Good baggage, good bags. Yes, and so today it's my turn with the bags. So
yeah. So Alan picked it, but let's start it off. Let's hit off the bumper, and then we'll start talking about a movie.
Let's
Perfectly Excellent.
Those bumpers are particularly helpful when I have to cough and or scratch my ear or something like that. So they're really important to kind of work those.
That's your time to do it. Nice. Well, while you were scratching and coughing, I was admiring the VHS box art for Labyrinth there, which is our Rewind movie of the day. And I have to say, there's something just classic about VHS box art. It just does it for me. Like it. I am super I guess I'm nostalgic for the format of popping those tapes in and rewinding them before returning them and whatnot. So
a big row of spines is also very nice. Like not that a wall of DVD spines isn't also satisfying, but it's a little bit different. There's something a little bit more there when it comes to like the spine of a VHS tape. I do like those.
Except for Disney. I think Disney ruined it with those big like
clamshells.
Yeah, that was just like they never fit right, and they just looked awkward. But this looks great.
Yeah, we're talking about the 1986 movie Labyrinth. And before, Alan, I want you to talk a little bit about this movie. But before we get into it, we always try to do some of the stats.
Okay.
Now, this movie was released on June 27th in 1986. In its opening weekend, it was number 8. Oof. At the box office. It made about $3.5 million. The total domestic box office for Labyrinth was $12,700,000. The budget was quite a bit more than that. And actually, I have written down here 25 million, but I've also read 35 million. So I'm not actually sure which of those two it is. So it is between 25 and $35 million budget.
A bit of a stinker at the box office.
Let's compare it to some of our more recent Rewind Club. So we watched Krull. Krull made $16 million.
Oh, that hurts.
At the box office.
I don't want to even know what Howard the Duck did.
Which Labyrinth made $12 million. Howard the Duck also made about $16 million at the box office as compared to Labyrinth's $12 million. UHF made $6 million at the box office.
Okay, so it's in the middle. This one
on a $5 million budget.
So
Labyrinth,
profitable.
While Labyrinth made about double at the box office, it also cost between 5 and 7 times as much money to make as UHF did.
But in its defense, look at this lineup here. You have the Karate Kid Part 2.
Now, again, what we're talking about is the opening weekend. We're going to go through the top 5 movies that were released that weekend, keeping in mind that Labyrinth came in at number 8 in its debut weekend.
Yes, and
So
Karate Kid Part 2 was #1 at the box office.
in its second week, it made $28,800,000
Wow.
that
Okay.
week. In week number 2.
I don't know that I've ever seen Part 2.
It's good. That's the one where they go to Japan and they cut the ice blocks with their hands. It's solid. I like it.
I think Karate Kid is all just like one big movie in my head.
No.
So Back to School, though.
Back to School is number 2. That was in its third week. That made $6,800,000 that week. Keeping in mind that in week 1, Labyrinth made about $3.5 million.
All right.
Then we have a movie I've never heard of.
I think Scoop Moose nails it, though. I mean, that the pants budget had to at least be, half of that, if not more. But we'll get into the pants in a little bit.
So again, yeah. Legal Eagles was number 3, and I don't know that movie at all. I have no idea what it is. It's a Robert Redford movie.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Number 4 was Ruthless People, and number 5 was Running Scared. Those two were both in their first week. So in the debut, Labyrinth was 3 behind Ruthless People and Running Scared.
Have you seen Running Scared? That's another good one.
Yeah, I have not. I have not seen that one.
I haven't watched that one in ages, but that's another one I used to love. Back to School, obviously great.
Yeah, Back to School is great.
Running Scared, great. These other ones, I mean, Karate Kid, you said is good. I'll take your word for it. But yeah,
I liked it when I saw it when I was a little kid.
Okay, cool. I am super surprised to hear this. I would have thought a Jim Henson movie was an instant success. I wonder how this compared to The Dark Crystal, if that did any better at the box office.
So why did you want to watch this movie?
Well, I'm trying to find something that may go over well with you. My first 2 picks, Howard the Duck and Krull, movies that I remember very, very fondly from my youth, did not pass the sniff test with you so much. Those were kind of stinkers. And this is a movie that I've consistently loved. I actually had watched it recently before we even talked about doing a rewind on this. It's just a fun movie for me. Oh, you know what did it too was at San Diego Comic-Con. Remember they showed off figures that are coming out from this movie.
Right.
I think that's what sparked it in my head.
And what about this movie grabbed you when you were younger? Why? Did you see it in the theater? How early did you see it? And what about it captured your imagination?
I don't recall if I saw it in the theater or not. But for me, it's just the characters, the whole story too, of which we'll get into in a little bit, and the world, and I liked a lot of the songs from it as well. So I'm a big fan.
All right.
Now, granted, I will say in our house, I've tried to make everyone watch this, and I know it is not popular here where I live in my home, but it's one that I still watch from time to time.
Okay. So the way we normally do this is after we go through some of the stats, after we talk about the history that the person who chose the movie has with it, then the other person kind of gets in the driver's seat and sort of walks through the plot.
Yep.
Now, before we start walking through the plot, got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
So you and I have known each other for 30 years, probably a little more than 30 years now, right?
Give or take, sure.
I don't talk to too many other people that I've known from 30 years ago. I'm sure that if you did a census of your friends from 30 years ago, I'm probably one of at least a few that you keep in touch with regularly. Correct?
Very true. Very true.
Okay. So my big question for you is, having kept in contact with me closely for 30 years, why don't you like me?
Oh, no. You did not like this one? I can't believe it.
Why don't you like me? Why do you want to hurt me? Why do you want to make me sad? What is it
I'm
about
disappointed.
me? What is it about me that makes you want to see me suffer?
Hey, you've known over the course of the 30 years that I like a lot of bad movies. This one I would not consider a bad movie that I like. And you tend to like a lot of those movies. I'm really disappointed that this one fell short as well.
I really did not like this movie at all.
All right.
Other
That's a
than
bummer.
now, we'll go through that. We'll walk through the plot.
Okay.
Other than some interesting Muppet puppet designs, which there were quite a few interesting, unique
Jim
looking
Henson,
things.
it's going to happen, right?
I cannot find a whole lot of super positive things to say.
Man. Well, apparently neither could the box office on opening weekend there. But
yeah, I didn't know how this movie had done. So when I started looking up the stats to kind of put everything together, I did so after having watched the movie. And I'm like, oh, well, this tracks.
that makes sense. I believe this is what is referred to as a cult classic, not a box office smash.
Man, that second C, I can, yeah, I don't know. That's not
Hang
the
on, I'm
C
gonna go
word.
to
That's
Rotten
not the C word I
Tomatoes.
would use for it.
Let's check out some Rotten Tomatoes and see where this one lands. I'm disappointed. I'm sorry that it didn't go over well.
So as you're looking that up, we're going to start walking through this in a little bit. So the way that we handle this is I sat down, I watched the movie, I took notes, real-time reactions, key plot points. I'm sure there's going to be stuff that you want to jump in and kind of talk about what you liked about it and that sort of thing. So we'll get through that. I'd be very curious to see what Rotten Tomatoes has to say, even though I don't necessarily trust them as the arbiter of everything.
All right. Well, if you had a guess on Rotten Tomatoes, what would they have their tomato meter and their popcorn meter. Which one would you like to take a guess at? I don't know what either. Well, the tomato meter only has 127 reviews, but the popcorn meter has over 250,000 ratings.
So. All right, so I would imagine that means the tomato is probably like actual critics, and the popcorn is like the fans, like the right. Unwashed masses.
Yes, the normies.
Yeah, I would say that the critics probably have like. I don't know how Rotten Tomatoes works. I would imagine the critics said it sucked, and there's probably enough people who like this weird movie said it's good that score is higher.
Mm-hmm. So on a scale of 1 to 100.
I don't know how they put together the scores. It's if it's an average of critic scores, I would guess the critic scores are probably like 50%. Yeah.
It is a 64% on the tomato meter. I'm surprised it doesn't give you like a summary of what that means. While it's arguably more interesting on a visual level, Labyrinth provides further proof of director. This is a good review. I don't know. Whatever. It says that he's got a boundless imagination. I don't know. But 64%, generally, I wouldn't consider that great. I would consider that a $12 million box office opening.
All right. So movie starts up. And the first thing that happens is there's a Lucasfilm thing there, which I had absolutely no idea that George Lucas had anything to do with this movie, past that I knew that Industrial Light and Magic had done special effects because I had seen it in a documentary. I didn't know this was like a proper Lucasfilm movie. So that was surprising. So we start off and I immediately have no idea where we are because a young girl a young woman, a teenager comes onto the screen dressed like a medieval princess. Mm-hmm. And she's saying some sort of prose, but then forgets what she's saying and starts reading from a book. And then a dog shows up and a town hall clock starts ringing. And I'm super confused immediately as to what's going on. I didn't know if we were already in the past. I don't know. Like, she's speaking to the Goblin King, which I know is who David Bowie is in this movie.
Spoiler.
So I completely had no idea what's happening. Like, are we in the movie and then it's going to flash back and catch us up to the point?
Okay.
I had no clue what was going on.
Interesting.
So, immediately she's then running in street clothes in the rain. Her name is Sarah. She gets home and her parents want her to babysit her younger brother, but she's late. And so now I know where we are. It's like, okay, this is normal modern.
Now you're grounded.
She was acting in the play or something like that. That's fine. I know what's up. But what I don't understand is why Sarah immediately starts screaming and whining and complaining and throwing like an 8-year-old level tantrum about being asked to do something by her awful stepmother, who seems completely reasonable and grounded to me.
She is a teenager.
So immediately I hate Sarah, like
Oh.
hate her instantly because she's just screaming and ranting and raving. So she goes upstairs. The baby gets put to bed. The parents leave. She's whining and throwing things and picking up teddy bears.
Tim, I'm going to tell you, Tim is watching an entirely different movie than what I am seeing at this point.
None of these things happen?
These happen, but I'm like, the negativity is like, I am enjoying this. She's outside. She's pretending to be a part. She's in this fairy tale. And then when she came home and the whole thing with her mom, just that made sense to me. She was always forced to watch her baby brother.
If one of your children came home and acted like that, you'd be like, that's fine. I'm leaving now.
No, it was the 80s. It was a movie. She was a teenager. I got it. It all made sense. She didn't want to do anything. And then her mother was telling her, oh, I wish you did have a date or something. So you could tell that it was not a happy situation.
Oh, but she is completely being over dramatic about everything in that like teenager way that I didn't like when I was a teenager, let alone watching it as an old man. So the baby starts crying. She goes into the room and kind of essentially starts yelling at it to stop crying, which I don't know how childcare works. I don't have any children, but that doesn't seem like the best way to handle that.
Generally, that's frowned upon. That's frowned upon.
So she starts monologuing at the baby about how she wishes the goblins would come and take him away and rid her of him forever. And as she starts saying this, we have a cut scene where there's a bunch of Muppet goblins.
Oh, hang on. Yes, it is the evil stepmother.
So Scoop Moose has sent a message asking, isn't it a stepmother? And yes, that's correct. It is a stepmother. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. She's basically screaming at the baby to get it to stop crying. And
she's one step away from shaking the baby. That I'll give you that. That was a little uncomfortable that she was going to violently shake it. But
so then she's saying that she wants the goblins to come and take away the baby. And there's some Muppet goblins that are listening, but I guess Sarah is not saying the words in exactly the right order.
Yep.
So they're like
words.
Yeah. So they're like, oh yeah, you're gonna say it. You're gonna say it. And she's sort of not saying it and whatever. But then she eventually says them. And I couldn't believe those were the words. Like, they're not particularly poetic. It's like, I wish the goblins would come and take you away right now.
No, don't say it. Don't say it. You can't say the words.
That was the key phrase that you weren't quite getting out. Like, it's not like
rub the top of Johnny's box or anything. Yeah, it was.
No.
So it's sometimes magic is simple. It doesn't always have to be complicated.
So she says that, and then the baby's gone. And she immediately feels guilty because I guess she didn't expect the baby to disappear, which I get, but she certainly didn't seem to.
I'm glad you could see eye to eye with her on that point.
But I don't know. So then she's kind of freaking out a little bit, and an owl breaks into the house and starts hassling her. And then David Bowie shows up, and I don't know if the insinuation is that David Bowie was the owl or if the owl is the harbinger of David Bowie to show up.
I think they're one and the same. Yes,
they are. Okay. So the owl is David Bowie. It was a fancy owl, so I can see that.
It was no Clash of the Titans owl, but it
was not Bubo.
But it was still fancy.
It was absolutely not Bubo. So they're talking a little bit, and he offers her a crystal ball that shows her her dreams. I think that's the way it was phrased. I don't know what that means exactly, but he'll give it to her if she forgets the baby. And she says no. So naturally he does what any Goblin King would do, is he turns the crystal ball into a snake and throws it at her.
Well, what I mean, put yourself in his shoes.
Of course.
Like, what else are you going to do?
Listen, if Sarah was at my house screaming, or if I showed up at Sarah's house and she started screaming, I would absolutely throw a snake at her.
Well, you would turn a crystal ball into a snake and then throw
it. Yeah. After I turned into an owl and hassled her for a while.
Yep.
So basically, to get her brother back, she has 13 hours to get through the labyrinth, or the brother becomes one of them.
Yes.
Which isn't super clear to me if that means he just has to live there or if he's going to turn into a goblin. I'm not sure.
I kind of took it as he turned into a goblin, like when I
That's
used to watch
sort
this.
of what I thought too, but I wasn't sure.
But I will say that was one ugly baby, so he was like halfway there already.
He was goblin-esque.
He had goblin features.
He was goblin adjacent at a minimum.
And I appreciate that even because the figures they made that they showed off at San Diego Comic-Con, the baby is just as grotesque in figure form as he is in this movie. So no offense to the adult that he's grown up to be, but ugly kid.
Not great. So
not great.
So here we go. Now we enter the labyrinth, starts walking around and immediately meets a Muppet that's peeing.
Yeah, that I will give you, that was always weird. Even when I was a kid, I thought that was a weird thing, but I guess they wanted to introduce the this character and his
urine?
In his urine, yes. No, in his kind of like rough demeanor there. He's not a super nice guy.
So this Muppet suit actor animatronic thing is named Hoggle.
It is Hoggle.
And
yes.
He's got one of those like old-timey cartoon like insect spray things that has like the sideways cylinder and then the pump on the back, like a super soaker sort of thing. And he's spraying pixies and they're dropping dead. And Sarah's upset about that, but then they bite her, and then she's like, "Okay, I can see that. That's fine."
Yeah, they're basically they're the mosquitoes of the labyrinth. Yes,
and again, in this instance, I'm fine with that. Sarah, you got bitten, kill him. Nope, no sweat, no problem.
Yep.
So
they drew first blood. Yes,
Hoggle's not like super stoked to be hanging out with hers, but basically he opens the door to the labyrinth for her, and she starts walking into the labyrinth, and he splits. So she's walking in the labyrinth and it just goes straight and there's no turns and she's just walking and walking and walking and walking and not quite Lord of the Rings level walking, but walking.
Yeah, good. There's a good like 2.5 minutes of walking potentially.
Of walking straight.
So
eventually she runs into this little worm thing and the worm helps her to not go straight and then purposefully but not maliciously sends her in the wrong direction because the worm doesn't think she would want to get to the Goblin King castle.
You would not want to go to the castle at the center of the labyrinth, correct? So she thought she was doing her a solid by sending her away from the castle.
Yeah. So then the first musical number hits, which again, wasn't aware there was going to be music in this.
Even when you saw David Bowie, that didn't like he's gonna sing.
I figured he probably did like the theme song or something like that, but I did not know that there would be musical numbers as part of this movie. So he starts doing a musical number, and this is where the first time, now we're not that far into the movie, but I'm already writing notes that say, "What are you doing to me, Alan?"
No, was this which song is this? Was this Dance Magic?
I think so. It's the very first one where he's cavorting with the Muppets and throwing the child around.
Yes, I love that song. So you know, I absolutely love that song. I think it's my favorite song in the whole movie.
So I don't know what that song's about.
It's about the babe with the power.
Yeah. Okay. So Sarah's walking around and she's trying to leave marks to keep track of where she's going, but her markers keep getting erased or changed or something like that. So she runs into some Muppets where one always lies and the other one always tells the truth.
And this is Manny had said that this is his the doors that lie and the doors that tell the truth is his favorite part. Yes, I absolutely love this part. This is a part of the movie that I think about all the time. Like my entire life, I've constantly like always gone back to this scene and this riddle.
Why?
Because it's, again, like understanding how to solve that riddle when you have one door that's always going to lie, one door that's always going to tell the truth. It's just a fascinating riddle. And I just love this part. I love the doors and their behavior. They're kind of like goofy and weird. Everything in this movie is goofy and weird. But yeah,
so
and then
watching it once for the first time, and maybe I'm not particularly intelligent, which is completely possible, but she starts sort of talking through the logic of why she made the choice that she did. And then I guess she was wrong. Like, I have absolutely no idea because she opened the door and then just falls.
But she falls into the helping hands. I don't know. Like, she definitely figures out that riddle. That is one thing I'll give you. She figures out the riddle like way too fast. Like, I had to write this out on paper and go through every scenario. And I think when this riddle, like classically, if you hear it online, you can only ask one question. I don't remember in the movie if she was only allowed one question or more. But
no, she just asked the one question, but then she explained it. But then she like falls into a pit of Mumminshan's hands.
But they're helping hands. They were helping her.
I suppose yeah. Again, and
they
then
caught her.
They caught her, and then they dropped her because she said she wanted to go down, which seems like an odd direction.
Yes. So they all seem to be very disappointed that she chose down. I guess if she chose up, all would have been well. You don't know in the labyrinth.
That was creepy. I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut back to David Bowie, who is surprised that she's gotten as far as she has, which is in a pit below a chasm made of hands.
Yes.
I can see why this bothers him.
Yes. She should not have gotten that far.
So she starts walking.
I will give you that. Looking back at it now, she's only been in the labyrinth like in real time for like 6 minutes, possibly.
And has fallen down a pit of hands. And
yes.
David Bowie is just like, ho, we got to watch out for this one.
I guess maybe he never thought, no, he knew she would get in because he had a hand in that. But I guess he never thought she'd get past the door, perhaps.
So I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, Hoggle comes back, and it's implied by David Bowie that Hoggle needs to bring her back to the start of the labyrinth.
Yes.
So he sort of starts to do that, and then Sarah bribes him with a plastic bracelet to take her as far as he can. Mm-hmm. So they start walking around, and a bunch of the Easter Island rocks start warning her that she's going the wrong way and to beware.
Yes. Oh, please let me do. I never get to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
A crystal ball rolls by, and David Bowie's back, and he's mad at Hoggle. Mm-hmm. He basically says like, this is much worse than you thought, huh? And Sarah tries to act brave and says, no, it's a piece of cake. So he takes an unspecified amount of time away from her.
Several hours, it appears. Yes.
Which is even more odd since the timing really only comes up 3 times in the entire movie. So the ticking clock is not a plot device that was really leveraged as part of this movie.
13 hours. It was said, we all understood it, and we ran with it.
But then they changed it, but they didn't tell you what they changed it to.
He lessened it.
He lessened it. He made it less.
It was less. Definitely under 13 hours.
Anyway. Mm-hmm. So he throws a crystal ball, and then cleaners start to come, which is basically a big drill that fills the tunnel. Now, I do think the design of the cleaners is interesting. It's kind of like a steampunky sort of thing, which I think is kind of cool. But they escape with so little drama, I don't even know why they bothered to have this scene. Because basically her and Hoggle just push a wall down and they get out of the way.
But if that wall, they didn't push the wall down, they could have been cleaned.
I suppose. But anyway, this completely stresses out Hoggle. So he says he's done and she's on her own. So now our heroine steals from him to force him to continue to help her.
Yes. But he deserved it because he had been tricking her. You know,
right.
He had been working with Jared, David Bowie. And so she felt justified in that.
At what point in your life were you taught that 2 wrongs make a right?
Hey, if I've never been in a labyrinth, I've never been in the dungeon of a labyrinth attacked by Muppets on a drill before. So I can't fathom what was going through her head at the time.
All right. So now this thing shows up that has a bird on his head. It's sort of like a hat, but it's part of him. And I'm very confused as to what happens here. There's a bunch of dialogue that doesn't make any sense to me and doesn't seem to point to any further progress.
I think you're being way too hard on this movie. I think for a Jim Henson movie from 1986, you're being like so hard on this one. It's like, it's just such a fun movie. Like if you didn't even understand the dialogue with the characters and the bird.
I mean, I understand the bird and the guy like arguing with each other, but I don't understand what Sarah is trying to get out of it. I don't understand what she does get out of it that warrants giving them a ring. So what information did they give her that warranted that?
They didn't give her a lot because the dude fell asleep again, but she was just being grateful to their help. See, she's still a good person, even though she stole from Hoggle. She's still paying.
What help did they give her?
I don't recall the exact dialogue from the bird, but I still, again, I love all of these characters. I love all of these interactions. And maybe when they were making it, it was just a way to show off some fun, to go really wacky and have some fun.
All right. So they start walking, they hear a loud roar, and then Hoggle splits again.
Yeah. So he is a self-proclaimed coward, so he does that frequently.
So now there's a beast hanging upside down, and Sarah chases away some goblins and helps it down.
And now, those goblins are the goblins that are for sale if you want to purchase them.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
So I actually had to, after the fact, look up what this creature's name was because I could not understand what they were saying. I thought his name was Bluto. But it's not. It's Ludo, Ludo. It's Ludo. Yes. I thought it had the same name as the Popeye antagonist.
I thought that for a very, very, very long time as well. Until you can actually look up things like, hey, what was that guy's name? That I realized I'd had it wrong all those years.
Yeah. So Ludo is helped down, and now it's going to be buddies with Sarah.
Yeah, Ludo is basically the Wampa of this movie.
Yeah. So then they get to some doors with talking door knockers. They talk again. They don't say a whole lot. And then they knock in one of the doors and she goes in and Bluto goes with her. And this is where I kind of made one of those notes that I think is where you and I have like a gigantic difference in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens for any reason in this movie. Every interaction is just an excuse to bring on a new weird looking Muppet, interact with it briefly, not move the plot forward in any way, and then move on to the next one. And that happens over and over and over again.
See, I'm disappointed and I get it. You're watching this movie as a middle-aged man and you're seeing these things. Watching this movie as a kid, none of that mattered. Just being in a crazy world with all this wacky stuff happen. Like, I just loved all of it. Like, I was so invested in these characters. I felt for them. There was tears shed. So
I just don't get, nothing happens. Like nothing happens in this movie.
I don't think I want to do rewind clubs with you anymore. You're pooping all over my childhood movies here.
You're the one you're the one picking these movies. Like
yeah, but I get it. If this didn't entrench itself with you when you were young and impressionable, it's probably tough to, again, the box office. So even back then it was tough, but I don't know. I still think this one is great and I absolutely love it. And, it's super, super disappointing hearing all of the things. I wish you could go back and watch this as a young Tim and see if it was any different.
I don't think I would have liked it back then because I think it would have been too dark and creepy for me. What it does a lot, it gives me real Last Unicorn vibes, which is a movie that I did see when I was a kid, and I hated that movie because I thought.
But you like the Dark Crystal, though, right?
No, I do not like the Dark Crystal.
Oh,
but
I also even like it as a kid.
I never saw it as a kid. Actually, that's not totally true. I think we rented it once and made it about a half hour through, and then we just got rid of it. We didn't like it, and then I watched it again as an adult, and I did not like the Dark Crystal.
Yeah,
either.
See, again, I loved it as a kid. I tried to watch it as an adult, and I just could not get by the dinner scene, the feast. I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn this off for now.
Anyway, so they're walking through the forest now, and Ludo is scared. So and again, stuff like this keeps happening and it drives me nuts. So she holds his hand and says, "There's nothing to be afraid of." And then he just falls into a hole and dies, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
At which point I wrote, "I'm jealous," because I wanted to die at this point of the movie. So
I don't know that I want to go on anymore. This is sad. This is hurting me.
Sarah calls out to Hoggle for help, and he's going to help her, and he has that moment of conscience. He's going to go help her, but then David Bowie shows up again to hassle him. So Bowie gives Hoggle a peach to give to Sarah, And for whatever weird reason, although it does pay off later on, but for whatever weird reason says, if Sarah kisses you, I'll make you the prince of the bog of eternal stench. She's like, okay, well, maybe he can see into the future. He might be a soothsayer as well.
Yes. I think that's a well-known place. It's like Pittsburgh in the Labyrinth, the bog of eternal stench.
How dare you? Pittsburgh, there are fine folk in Pittsburgh.
No, I'm just saying it's like a landmark. It's like a place people know.
All right. So again, I don't really have any idea what's going on at this point. I'm getting like genuinely aggravated with this movie. And I look at the time and we're only halfway through. And
Manny, I don't know what Rat Boy is, but maybe Tim will like it because he definitely didn't like this one.
So yeah, so one of the folks watching live sent in something that says maybe Tim will like Rat Boy. I don't know what Rat Boy is either. So then red gremlin looking things show up and they start dancing with Sarah, but it turns oddly aggressive and they can take their heads off and kind of like juggle their own heads. So Sarah takes off their heads and throws them away so she can run away, which apparently is bad form. So
yes, you
that's
don't.
Not good.
You can throw your own head, but you can't throw other people's heads.
So that's bizarre. So Hoggle comes back and saves her by helping her climb over a wall. So of course, the only thing that she can think to do because of this good-natured thing was to kiss him thank you. So then they fall down a slide towards the bog of eternal stench. Hoggle grabs a branch to stop from falling in. Sarah just sort of stops and is trying to help Hoggle. Tell me your opinions about the bog of eternal stench.
It's a very stinky place. It's similar to the rodents of unusual size. It's a place you just don't want to mess.
It sure makes a lot of farty noises.
Well, it is the bog of eternal stench. I think I can definitely relate to it a lot more in my older age, as sometimes it follows me around. But yes.
All right. So they fall and they fall on Ludo, who is not dead. So that's good.
Did not die.
And then the three of them go to a bridge, and there's a bridge keeper. And again, you know what? I just realized, like, I don't remember his name, and I wrote it down. So I could not, the entire time I was watching this movie, I could not remember Sir Didymus's name. And I don't know if it's because I just couldn't remember it or because every time they said it, I just didn't have any idea what they were saying. So I just keep referring to it as the fox. So this fox thing it has like a stick and it's kind of running around in circles, protecting the bridge. And it keeps hitting Ludo with the stick over and over and over again. Now, keep in mind, Sir Didymus is like the size of a fox, and Ludo, as Alan mentioned before, is like the size of a wampa. So this is not a fight, and it's basically like a mosquito bothering Ludo, and Ludo has kind of no idea what's going on. So the fox gives up and says that Ludo is an adversary that's worthy, so now they're buddies?
Yes.
This is so annoying. This is so annoying. Now, as much as I really didn't like this movie up until this point, when they bring this fox that does nothing but scream for the entire rest of the movie into the equation, I'm fuming. Like at this point, my wife is asking me what's wrong. Why am I getting so angry and like stomping around and pausing the movie and walking away? So
I cannot. My disappointment is immeasurable right now that you're so angry at this movie. Sir Didymus is a valiant, like, you know, he's so noble and valiant and brave, and just again a great character. He's riding a dog at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna back away from my microphone so it doesn't sound too insane. But the entire movie, to me, all I hear from Sir Didymus is like all he does is scream and yell and freak out like an insane thing with a high-pitched voice.
Yes, he is very energetic. He's there to fight a noble fight and seize the day.
So they ask his permission to cross the bridge and he says, okay. The bridge breaks. Sarah's hanging from some branches, and then Ludo uses his secret power, which is he starts yelling and he can control rocks, which will be like handy later.
Yes.
So This is absolutely an adult nitpicking something here, and I'm acknowledging that. Rocks come out from the bog.
Yes, I know where you're going with this. They are covered in eternal stench. Yep.
They're covered in bog, and supposedly if you even so much as touch the bog of eternal stench, you will stink forever. But apparently if the bog of eternal stench is on top of a rock, it doesn't count because Sarah just walks across them.
We have to suspend disbelief a little bit,
which is fine
for the bog.
Definitely not my biggest problem with this movie, so I'm okay with that. So they complain about being hungry. So Hoggle gives Sarah the peach from David Bowie because he sucks, I guess. Sarah eats it and starts tripping, essentially, and freaking out. Yes. So I don't know what happened to everybody else. I think they just kept walking and didn't notice that she wasn't walking with them anymore and was, tripping on acid or something like that. Mm-hmm. So David Bowie, I guess he's using crystals again and sending them into the air, but essentially looks like he's sending bubbles out into the world. And then there's another musical number, which makes less sense than the first one, because now like Sarah's like tripping during this musical number, and they're in a fancy dress ballroom costume party inside of one of the bubbles, and David Bowie's there, and they're dancing together. I don't know what's real. I don't know what's imaginary. I don't know if I want to live or die at this point.
That was all what she was seeing. That was the spell that he put on her. So she was imagining, because she thinks she's in this costume gala, right? This big ballroom dance with David Bowie, and it's all goblins and ghoulies. It's not wacky. What it seems, but he's trying to get her to forget.
So she finds an imaginary chair to break open the imaginary bubble, and then she falls into a junkyard, which we see that Hoggle is also just happens to be in that same junkyard. Another thing that I just thought was weird was when she woke up in the junkyard, she's still holding the peach, which I don't know why. I just thought that was funny. So a junk lady shows up, which is basically this like little Muppet that is like packed a whole bunch of junkyard stuff on her back, like a tortoise shell kind of.
Yeah, it's like a walking trash heap or something.
Yeah. So she gives Sarah her missing teddy bear that wasn't really missing. It was actually in the baby's room earlier in the movie, but regardless, she gives her a teddy bear, and then she brings Sarah back into her bedroom. So Sarah thinks that everything up until now has been a dream, but then the junk lady comes back and starts building a tortoise shell on top of her with her stuff.
Yes, and back to the teddy bear, Sarah was mad that the teddy bear was missing, that it was taken, and it was in Toby's room, I think is the baby. So that's why the significance is like, oh, you were looking for this. So Sarah then remembers that, okay, this isn't a dream, and I do need to go find my younger brother. So she starts remembering in the room, her imaginary room starts disintegrating, and then the fox and Ludo find her, and they get to the Goblin City. So again, all of this is happening over the course of like maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and I'm just sitting here going, what on earth is going on? They're all tricks. They're trying to get her off course. They're trying to like delay her or distract her from reaching the Goblin City. All right. So they get to the Goblin City, and they get to this like steampunk door that turns into a robot to fight them. This thing's cool looking, like legitimately cool looking. Within seconds, Hoggle comes back and just tears the head off of it, and it turns out it's like a mech that's piloted by a goblin. So he tosses the goblin, and Hoggle takes over the mech. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like ready to see some mech wrecking action. But Hoggle is an idiot and just immediately breaks it. And then that's the end of like the coolest thing in the movie to me. Yeah, it would have been too easy, I guess. Once you get a mech, like what's a Goblin King going to do? So because Hoggle is too dumb to pilot the mech, Sarah forgives him for poisoning her for some reason. So they're cool again. Right around here, a cat runs by. So there's cats in this world. So that's good to know. At least something good lives in the labyrinth, because I love cats. Let's see. David Bowie now knows that everybody is in the town. So he yells at the goblins to go get something.
And he says, "Do something," which again I wrote down was, "Hey, that's the first good thing that happened in this movie, is having David Bowie yell, 'Do something.'" The Goblin army attacks, and this is again, the fox is just, Sir Didymus is just screaming this entire time this battle is going on.
He's
like,
very
he just,
he's got a lot of flair to his approach.
he is just yelling and screaming, and for me there is just not a single likable character in this Forsaken movie. He jousts some goblins and then he sort of wins, but then he and his dog run away. They hide in a house. Bluto climbs to the top of the house and knocks the roof off of it, but it's kind of like one of those like towers, like those cylindrical towers in like medieval time castles, but they're not in a castle, they're just in a house. So he knocks the top off of it. He then calls for rocks to help. So then the rocks come and they start running over the goblins, and they do like the super obvious like bowling joke where it rolls into a thing.
That's gonna happen.
I can't fault them for that. Like that's gonna be a thing.
That's just par for the course when you're
that's
rolling
par for
something.
the course. So basically they get to the castle and David Bowie's gone. The Goblin King is gone, and Sarah has to go and face him alone. I don't know why. She didn't explain why.
It's just, that's the way it is.
That wasn't part of the rules that I remember hearing, but she has to go alone. So then they end up in essentially like an MC Escher stairway thing. And David Bowie's there and he's singing.
There's more singing, yes.
And the baby is there.
Baby is not singing.
I'm going to read my notes verbatim here. Bowie is there and he's singing. The baby is there. This sucks so much. I don't want to do the Rewind Club anymore. I don't want to be a member.
That's two of us at least. I'm done with it after this one, I think. I think this is our last one.
Is this the climax, climbing stairs? Sarah jumps off the stairs and the room just sort of starts breaking up. David Bowie comes back for probably, and it was mentioned before, David Bowie's pants wardrobe. Like this is at least his 10th or 12th wardrobe change at this point.
And the pants are always just a wee bit too tight. Like a couple sizes too small.
Sarah recites the monologue that she forgot at the beginning of the movie, which makes David Bowie turn into laundry while the clock strikes 13 hours minus whatever time they took away from earlier. And then he kind of turns back into that. The owl shows up in the midst of the laundry, which is again why I'm not totally sure if he's the owl or not. And then she's back home. Baby's back in the room. Parents are home. Sarah's basically like sort of seeing the Muppets in a dreamy reflection in her mirror. And then all of the Muppet folks, including the bad guys, come over her room for a slumber party, and they're just partying, and the owl's outside. And then the movie just ends. There's no like resolution with the parents. There's no nothing. The movie just ends. And like, I legitimately do not want to stop doing the Rewind Club because I do think there's value in seeing movies that we haven't seen before. And I'm not saying that like you're wrong for liking this movie. I'm not saying that it is like an objectively bad movie because there's really cool looking stuff in it. They obviously put a lot of time into the way it looks. They put a lot of time into the sets, the creatures and whatnot. But like, just for me personally, like I could not stand everything that was happening. The story was almost non-existent. None of the dialogue went anywhere. Like I was so completely frustrated trying to watch this movie and just not be angry.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, we will have to discuss if we do this anymore. You've cut me deep on this one with your anger and hostility towards it. And I think you might just be too old at this point to go back and enjoy any of these movies that were easier to watch when you didn't think about, did this dialogue make sense? Did this interaction make sense? Something that was just fun and like looked great and had wacky characters and was a good time.
See,
like
I'm
hurt on this one.
I have a really different take on this. I don't think it's fun. I think it's
dark.
I think it's dark. I think it's creepy. I think it's kind of unsettling. like, I don't find anything about this movie like joyful. I find it just like odd for the sake of being odd.
Yeah. Here, Scoo Boost thinks you need to, perhaps Tim could make a list of all the Muppets that hurt him as a child, and then the healing can begin.
That's the thing. I love the Muppets. Yeah. I love Sesame Street. I love Fraggle Rock, because there is an upbeat whimsy to all of them that isn't present in The Dark Crystal, that isn't present in Labyrinth. Like, this is just intentionally odd.
Yeah, I'm sure they were going for something a little different. And Manny had a good point, and I remember this too. I guess there was the plot about Sarah having to grow up and, you know, be responsible and have these consequences and things like that. Like, that was the underlying point of her journey, was to, I guess, be a responsible person. But again, as a kid watching it, none of that really registered. It was just a fun adventure to me. And I guess I never really took it as dark, because I loved the goblins in this. And that's why, you know, when we talked about those figures, I'm like, oh, I may just get the goblin, because I absolutely love the look of the goblins. I thought they were great. Even Hoggle, I think, is a great character. And of course, Ludo and Sir Didymus. You know, there's been some figures from this movie, not a lot over the years, but every time I see them, I'm just like, oh man, I would love to get them. I still absolutely love this one. I think it's a great, you know, for me, it is a great movie. I guess it's just, I've always enjoyed it, you know, for 50 something years, or not that, it's not that old, but I don't know. I'm super, super disappointed. I thought this would be a win for you. I feel like you're being crazy harsh on it, though, expecting a lot from something out of 1986 that was you know,
that's the thing. I wasn't expecting anything. And I mean, the point of this whole exercise is you do kind of go through and nitpick the plots, even the ones that we've gone through that we both like. We certainly go and point out, well, that's kind of weird, I don't know why that happened. You know, that's sort of the shtick.
And I could like rewatching Howard the Duck, I could see, okay, that was tough. Krull was definitely, like, as much as I, you know, have a fondness for it, that was really tough to watch. This one I thought would have been a slam dunk. Again, it's from the mind of Jim Henson, and apparently something with George Lucas, but so is Howard the Duck at some point. So yeah, I gotta say, I'm disappointed. I'm hurt on this, and I really want to talk. I don't think I want to suggest any more movies. I think I'm just gonna hang on to the ones from here on out, because this was disappointing, and I'm sorry that I put you through another one that did not register at all. That you actually hated it is really disappointing for me to hear. Not liking it could be one thing, but your notes hurt, I gotta say.
I'm not trying to hurt.
Yeah, but I do actually feel personally offended, because I'm just like, God, I have such a fondness for it. But I get it.
Okay, you can, and that's good, and I'm glad you do. I don't judge you for it. I don't think that you're wrong for liking it, because art and things like this, they affect people in different ways. Indeed. And I just don't like this. And that's okay.
But you went a little more than didn't like it. Like
I know, I
actively hated it. Yeah,
I hated it.
Yeah, so.
I hated having to sit there and get through it. But again, that doesn't invalidate it. That just means
I'm not saying it does. It's saying it's like, I don't know. I'm just really going to think if I'm ever going to suggest any more for these. So we'll talk about that going forward. I think this might have been it for me. Like, I don't want to, like, I'm 3 for 3. And this one was the one you had the most like adverse reaction to. So I might just call it.
I wouldn't know. This is not worse than Howard the Duck.
Okay.
This is absolutely not worse than Howard the Duck.
You seem to be a lot more down on this than Howard the Duck.
I think you're just being more sensitive about this one than Howard the Duck.
Possibly, because Howard the Duck is easy to see the flaws. This one I really struggle with, I guess. Because this is like, you know, Howard, I hadn't seen in forever. When we talked about doing it, we rewatched it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty awful. But this one, again, I watch this every now and then. This is a movie that I own and it's still adore. So this one hurts.
That's okay. Hey, look, I still think that the Chris Elliott movie Cabin Boy is great, and I guarantee you that 99% of the universe would say, "Oh, that's a horrible movie," and that's okay.
I'm used to liking movies that most people think are horrible, but I don't know. I thought this one would have gone over well. So sorry to hear that I put you through another one.
It's all for the love of the show, right?
Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna think hard and long about suggesting anything from here on out, which is good because it's your turn next to pick another.
It is my turn next. Yes. I've got a couple of ideas, and the one that I'm kind of the most interested in is not one that I have like a deep personal connection to, and I'd mentioned it to you the other day. Is I had asked you if you had ever seen the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Yep, and I don't believe I have.
So that one might be interesting, but that's not one that I will be able to evangelize like, oh, this movie's great. I can't believe you haven't seen it. This is like, I saw it when it came out in the theater. I like it, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were my younger brother's thing, and I sort of palled around with that because you do things with your siblings when you're younger. So that's more his thing than me.
They kind of skipped my house for some reason. Like, I know my younger brother was into them a little bit, but he maybe only had like 1 or 2 figures. They were never like a big deal in our house. So I'm curious.
My brother had all of them. So I actually have a real affinity more for the action figures than anything else because, he wanted to play with the turtle figures. So I would play with him. But as a result, I ended up watching a lot of the cartoon, which again was fine. I like it. And the movie, I like it, but it's not like I can sit here and go, yeah, that movie rules. I can't believe you've never seen that. So I'd be really curious to see what you think about it, because like some of these other movies, it has an odd sort of darkness to it that seems incorrect for what I knew the Turtles to be at that time period.
Well, that is surprising to hear. Yeah, because again, I think of them as very bright, colorful, cheerful kind of thing. So I'm totally down. Yeah, the only thing I've seen Turtles that I know is that the most recent animated movie that they did. I started watching that, but I never got to finish it. But I was enjoying it. That was really good.
All right, so that might be next month. But we'll see. There's also some other ones that I'd really like you to see, just because I know you haven't seen them. But that one to me feels like an interesting case study more than anything else.
So Manny, Scoop Moose, definitely, and anyone else listening, play along. Like, the goal is to have a good conversation about the movies. So everyone do their homework, and we'll keep you posted on the date there.
All right. Do you have time or energy or enthusiasm for a now playing?
Sure. Hey, I wanted to see one more comment from Scoop Moose. Labyrinth and the first Ninja Turtle movie is the same strength. Marvel at the amazing puppetry. Don't worry too much about the plot and acting. Okay, I can get behind that.
So do you want to do a now playing, or are you spent?
No, I'll go for it. You go first this time. What do you got now playing?
Perfectly excellent.
Now playing. Check newspaper for local listing.
All right, so now playing is where we each talk about something that we've been listening to, watching, playing, just something that kind of caught our interest since the last time that
what's in rotation at the moment. Yes.
Yeah. So for me, what is in rotation is the recent reissue of the 1996 Ween album, 12 Golden Country Greats. This was their country album that came out at the time. They've re-released it as a triple LP with essentially an entire record's worth of unreleased songs, as well as pretty much demo versions of pretty much every song that did end up on the album. So I've been listening a lot to that and remembering how awesome I think certain and most, but certainly not all Ween albums are. This is one of my favorite. I actually saw them on this tour with a full country band. They played at Tramps. And your favorite band opened up for them, Do-Rag. So that was like that was a big night out on the town for me, getting to see Do-Rag and Ween all at the same time.
And Country Ween.
Country Ween with a full country band.
Of all the Weens out there.
I interviewed them for my college newspaper at the time, and for whatever reason seemed to completely annoy Dean Ween. I think the one who plays the guitar, not the main.
That doesn't
singer
sound like a real name, but go on.
So for whatever reason, I completely annoyed him. So that was an odd
questions,
interview.
or
I think so. Yeah. Well, you got to remember, in 1996, I was like a sophomore in college, like writing for, like, doing interviews for the first time. Whatever. I'm sure it sucked, but
you got to go find that somewhere. Those articles.
Yeah, I do. I think they're in my attic, actually. But anyway, so I've been re-listening to that album. I was thinking about how cool that show was, and Ween's good stuff. Like him.
All right. Well, I haven't been listening to anything. Nothing I could think of, though. I am eager to get that Epcot album that they were teasing at D23. I don't think that comes out until October. But what I have been playing is I started playing the new Indiana. Well, it's not new anymore, but new to me, the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle as a video game that I started playing on the Switch. And it actually is very impressive in its cinematic delivery. You actually start, the first level is playing through Raiders of the Lost Ark, going in through the temple, getting the idol, and like beat for beat, like you actually get to play through that experience. So that was a lot of fun. Whoever's doing Harrison Ford's voice is like spot on. And it really feels like you're watching, like, hey, this is a whole new Indiana Jones like adventure movie. So
how old is the game? Was it for the Switch, or is it like one of those remastered dealies?
No, it's pretty new. It came out for like all the other consoles, and they released it on the Switch too. I don't think it's on the Switch Uno, but yeah. And again, I know that on the Switch 2, it's not its super high def version, but I don't know. I just like the portability of it, being to play it. So I'm excited. I'm enjoying diving into a new adventure. And you get to walk around his office. You walk around the university where he's at. There's mystery. Something has happened.
Mm-hmm.
You have to solve it. There's some clues that you look at. I'm curious to see where it goes. I just started playing it though, so we'll check back and see where this goes. But good times.
All right,
it's Indiana Jones.
Well, that's going to do it for us for this week. I don't know if we're going to be back next week or in 2 weeks. We haven't really kind of discussed that. We have a couple of vague ideas for the next few shows that we want to do. We'll also be doing some we're definitely going to be doing some do somethings in the future, because I'm going to a toy show in Connecticut, and then we're both going to a toy show in Pennsylvania the weekend after. And then we have
to talk about that potential Wayne toy show if we're going to do that, because I got to let the guy know. So
we need to figure out what's going on with that. There's a potential that we might be on the other side of the table.
Interesting perspective. We might be vending at a toy show as a vendor.
Yeah, we might be having other people do something while we don't do something. We're sort of doing something.
We should interview anyone that comes up if we do it.
Why are you here?
Yes. Or no, I liked your idea of putting the thing on the table, like choose your level of conversation.
of interaction.
Like, yeah, that's great, because when you go through some of these toy shows, you don't get to choose your level of interaction, or it's difficult to. People are, talking to you, and there's a lot of characters, and we're characters as well. So we'll figure it in.
My idea was to put a sign on the table that says, please let us know how much you would like to interact with us. Like talkative, not so much, leave me alone, like those kind of things. So,
say nothing.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. But anyway, we'll definitely, stay tuned. We'll let everybody know what's going on when we know what's going on. And I'm sorry that you're upset and disappointed. I don't think you should be. It's okay.
Yeah, I think
difference of opinion.
I'll get over it. I think you were very, very harsh and mean on this one, and I wasn't
mean to you.
No, but I feel I understand your opinion. It does not invalidate mine. It doesn't mean you're wrong or anything like that. But this one hurt. I'm gonna have to go sit in the closet with the lights out for a little bit.
All right. Well, I'm gonna turn all of the lights on so I never have to see any of these goblins again.
All right. And I hope they come to me. All right. Thanks everybody for hanging out.
All right. See everybody soon.
Perfectly excellent.
Perfectly Excellent is part of a nutritious breakfast. We're live on YouTube and available wherever fine podcasts are podcasted. Liking and subscribing helps, so do that if you can. See you next time.